Guys, I'm doing stuff a little different today. I'm still gonna make it a video, but I'm just doing a recording. And I'm not putting my face on if I can help it from here on out. Not that you haven't seen my face. I know that's, yeah. Anyway, welcome to Reflections of a Honey. It's Coco Mel. Today's topic is going to be on walking away from relationships, because we all know someone who is in a relationship, was in a relationship, or is getting close to being in a relationship with somebody that they know isn't right for them. And what I mean by this is they know that this person has a sort of negative vibe to them. They show too many red flags. But ladies, when we're in a place where we feel comfortable with a person, we tend to believe that just because this person hasn't, I'll probably clean this up a little bit and maybe even redo it, because maybe I'm starting backwards, but I feel like we ignore red flags way too damn often, and we give people excuses for their behavior, and we continue to deal with people that we know aren't good for us. I know too many people who went into relationships with people that they shouldn't have, and they turned bad. But a thing about an abusive person in a relationship, they're also manipulators. You know, they also are good at explaining themselves innocent or giving themselves excuses for the behaviors. And we need to watch out for these red flags, honestly. If you have a person that is any type of controlling, if they get mad when you do things and they think that they should be able to control you in any kind of way, or tell you, or get mad at you if they say that you shouldn't do something and you do it anyway. Unless it has to do with, honestly, I don't think that there is an unless, you know. Maybe there is if somebody see you get hurt by somebody and they say that you shouldn't deal with this person. But that doesn't mean they should get angry at you when you don't. It's just, if you're dealing with somebody that truly loves you, they get upset with you because they know that you're going to keep going back to a person that does not treat you right. They're scared for you. And let me just say, don't ever underestimate somebody, because just because a person hasn't hurt you does not mean that they won't. Because I was in a relationship I was on and off in a relationship with my first love. You know, the first love that is hard to walk away from and all of that. Who we give more access to us than anyone. And we wash away red flags like it's our duty. But let me tell you something. If you have too many red flags coming from somebody, despite who they are, let that shit go. Because what happens is we get comfortable with the little, you yelled at me, or pushed me, or bumped me, or said something rude, or, because my thing is, if a person really loves you in a relationship, they're not going to say things that make you hurt. All right? It's just not going to happen. It's not going to happen. If you have kids, let that be the reason why you walk away from them. Because sometimes, and even if you have kids with that person, but even more so when they're not their kids. Because if a person can holler at you and yell at you and call you names in front of your kids, and even more than likely they involve your kids in that in one way or another, by telling them you're this, you're that, or by saying that they're this and they're that, these are red flags, people. A lot of times we say, you know, they're all talk, they're not going to do anything. It's been so many years. Back to what I was saying about my relationship, I knew that the person that I was dealing with had an aggressive behavior, an aggressive habit of putting their hands on women, and 15 years in of going in and out with this person because they never really had full access to it. There was always some variable, some level of safety that I had. And honestly, sometimes I believe that the loss of my brother gave them access to me in a way that, besides moving in with them, because we were getting kicked out of our house, the lady that was renting the house out to me changed everything up. And I didn't know she had lost the house. I was still paying her rent for like 6 months past the point of even needing to. And I was paying her extra because I was late most of the damn time. But anyway, that's beside the point. We all needed to go somewhere, and I was in a relationship with this person, so I was going with him, and everybody else was splitting up. And this person made sure that the people that I loved didn't have access to me. I wasn't allowed to have people to our house. That's a red flag, okay? And then if I went to their house, I needed to have, they needed to have full access to me from this point. Or them being mad because I went to somebody's house, which would be my sister's house. I went to her house, and I knew that was Steve. Went to my sister's house, and I was supposed to lean on them and not my sister, or at least lean on them as well. But they had this strong belief that you could just wash away your emotions after you lose somebody, and that I was being a crybaby. And those are all red flags, though. All red flags. When you argue with somebody about how much time they spend with their family members because they might be in cahoots in a one way or another, like jealousy type thing. You think I'm going to be effing my cousin or my sister's boyfriend or something like that. Jealousy, red flag, okay? Red flag. Because if a person really thought they was dealing with somebody like that, they would leave them, okay? They would leave them. Or they would find a way to find out so that they could prove it. They don't need to put their hands on you. They would leave you. Okay? Some people got it so bad, they get comfortable arguing and fighting with the people that they in relationships with. Or they forget where their place is. Like, if you're a woman, you shouldn't be arguing and fighting with anybody bigger than you, or anybody, like any man bigger than you, or whatever, or just in general. You should not be arguing and fighting with a man, especially if they have an aggression, a level of aggression, like, period. You should not be dealing with somebody with some level of aggression that you arguing and fighting in front of your kids, and you bypass this like it's no big deal. Even if you're married to a person and you feel like you're afraid of them, you're afraid when they get mad, you're afraid when they drink, get over it. It's okay to separate from this person. Shouldn't nobody be afraid of the person that they're in a relationship with, especially if you think there's drugs and alcohol that's driving this behavior. And if you still see them doing the drugs and alcohol, and this is how they act, because let me tell y'all something. We underestimate people way too damn much, all right? We have it in our heart that they never done this, so they never will. That's where we're wrong. There are women out here losing their lives because of the men that they've dealt with, okay? Literally. Some are losing everything, like I did. I lost everything dealing with a man, because I didn't walk away when I should have. Okay? Listen to me, y'all. Quit giving these people excuses. Quit giving people excuses for their behavior. If you feel like there's too much aggression in someone, even your kids, like, just calm that shit down. Not to say it like that. If you got male children, I have male children. My male children are getting older. I understand that without them having a male figure in their life, there are some things that I'm more than likely doing wrong with how that I'm raising them. But if I feel like my little male children are too aggressive when they react or whatever, I try to find a better way to deal with them without submitting. Sometimes it's just built up anger from dealing with me, because I'm not easy to deal with, let me just say. But that's one reason why I'm not in a relationship. I haven't been in one in a long time, and because I've seen too much. You're in a relationship with someone that might bring you a disease that you can't get rid of, that might have babies with somebody else, and that, let me tell you, that's a different story for a different day. That shit hurts. Okay? People, if a person threatens you, it's a level of them feeling like they need you to be scared of them, whether you think they will or think they won't. You don't underestimate a person that is threatening to hurt you, especially if they continuously threaten to hurt you. I know people who bypass this behavior because they think they're big enough, tough enough, strong enough, smart enough to outdo this person. But they're telling you in advance, like, some men do not like feeling like they can be pushed around by women. And when I say pushed around, some of them quite literally. And if for the men out there, if you got a woman that pushes you around, that's a red flag. Women should not be putting their hands on men, period. I don't care. And when you put yourself in a man's place, you know what they say. I still feel like men shouldn't hit women, but if you put yourself in a place where you slapping all over somebody, a grown-ass man, and the only thing he could do is choke you out real quick or push you down or something like that, despite the trouble that he should be in, that I'm not going to say you asked for it, but you kind of did. Like, don't do that. Don't put your hand, because, I mean, do you tell your kids to protect themselves? Like, how do you raise your kids to protect themselves when something like that happens? Because I tell my kids, walk away from a person. And if a person don't allow you to walk away, because, in order for you to walk away, sometimes you do have to, like, move a person out the way, or just have somebody do it for you, right? But don't go back to people like that, because what do you expect to happen from that? Some people have this idea in their mind. Look, this is the danger. We don't know how people really feel on the inside. And the best thing that people can do sometimes is say the words that get their point across. And sometimes they might say something like, I will hurt you. We're just going to say that for the sake of the listeners to, softer way. I will hurt you. And you have to believe it. There are different variables to this that, some things it's a very gray area in there for a lot of this stuff. But a lot of times, the gray area, there should be no gray area. Let me not say that. I take that back. I was just saying something. But listen, walk away. Walk away. This is one of my things that I feel like I can't really say, because when I was in a violent relationship, this person was already verbally abusive, right? They already said things. When we lost our son, they said that they didn't care that we lost our son because they had 5 daughters. They had 5 daughters with other people. Their daughters is all that mattered. Why do you say that to somebody? Y'all lost a mutual person in y'all lives, despite whatever I was saying to you, which I wasn't saying. I can't remember exactly the conversation, but I was saying nothing that deserved him to say that to me. Said, I don't care because I have 5 daughters. I think this is when I found out that, I was just trying to understand how he had a whole nother baby on the way. He brought me into that. We weren't actually in a relationship then, but it was a as like I said, that's a long story. Anyway, I wanted things to work out so bad because I loved him so much that the hurt of that moment I knew was going to be followed up with some kinder, more sensitive side of him, and I was looking forward to that. It was like a little treat. You're acting sensitive. You're gonna buy me something, even though he was gonna take it back too, though. But you're gonna be extra nice to me because you knew it wasn't right. Unfortunately, for that particular situation, that kindness never came, because the way he felt was the way he felt. He didn't feel there was a reason to apologize for it or feel bad about it or anything like that. So, that's also a testament to the type of person that he is. But I chose to continue dealing with him. It started to fade after that because by this time I had already lost my brother. But I should have just walked away. We have the red flags we need to just walk away. Why the hell don't we do it? Why don't we do it? Because I don't understand. I don't understand. What's wrong with us women? Like, what are we losing by walking away from somebody? A lot of times, I will admit, it's hard to walk away because they make it hard to walk away because he was not willing for me to walk away. Okay? He would take his break and come home to make sure I was still there. And then eventually when he actually started putting his hands on me, he stayed in the house with me and continuously did this. My child is in the other room. He continuously did this. Like I was trapped in a house. He wouldn't let me out the front door. He wouldn't let me out the back door. I didn't have another way out besides either of those. And he just kept banging my head against the wall, physically abusing me, choking me out. I didn't have anybody to call. If I called my sister, she would have went off the railings, and she really doesn't understand the dynamics of what it's like to deal with somebody like that. They don't care, okay? When you're dealing with somebody that doesn't care, it's not that they don't just care about me. They don't just care about them. They don't care if you call the police. They don't care if you have a weapon or whatever. They don't care, okay? They don't care. So they're dangerous, okay? These people are dangerous. If you ever had to deal with somebody like this, please find a way. Now, what I had to do was while he was at work, I gathered up as much stuff as I could as a pregnant person and just stored it in my car. I just stored it all in my car. And every day he went to work, I would make little things disappear, like the stuff that you don't notice. So I would just take little things here and there, like take a bucket of my clothes. We hadn't even settled in. We'd only been there for like 5 months. I would take little buckets of my clothes and take them to my sister's house here and there until eventually the last time that I loaded my car, it was with the rest of everything that belonged to me. Something that I would never have to come back to. And when I left the ring on the thing where he could see it. And I would say that I didn't look back. That's not the case. That's not the case, but we're not going to talk about why that wasn't the case. It should have been the case, period. But it wasn't the case, and I'll tell you why later. And that's going to also come with a level of explaining what that relationship was like. And this is how I know. Like, there's people who want to get away from their relationships, but by law, they can't. Because they make it hard. Once you're married, things are different, which we didn't actually get married. It wasn't even like an engagement fully. He just bought me a ring and asked me if I would marry him. I said yeah, or whatever. Why? I don't know. I think he used my pain that I was going through and the fact that he knows how women work. He's been around enough for him to know what to do. Anyway, people who are abusers, they know what to do. They know what to say. what to do. They know how to use your family members and kids or your mistakes against you. They know exactly what to do. And ladies, I need for us to stop letting this shit happen, okay? People, you don't know what people are really capable of. You really don't know. You don't know how, okay, if a person is, in a sense, unable to control their anger to where they're talking to you crazy in front of your kids or putting their hands on you, they also don't know how to control it if it gets to the point where they feel like they are about to lose you. They're not willing to lose the person that makes them feel however you make them feel. Whether you make them feel secure or stable, whatever you are to them. If you don't know how they really feel inside, because not everybody can control their emotions, and when you have a man that's being made feel little, whether that person tells you that's how they feel or not, what makes a person so angry that they want to be violent? They feel little, or they feel like they don't have control of the situation. And people like that don't want to lose control of the situation. The anger is what keeps them keeping the control of the situation. So don't underestimate them. Never. If you have to, get you a dog. Train it up. Make that dog feel like he needs to protect you at all costs. Or find you some friends that you could put around you. Some people say that some people love drama, but I don't think that people really enjoy getting beat the fuck up. I'm sorry if that's too much for you too, but some people don't enjoy getting beat up every damn day. I just can't stop, you know. I'm sorry. I got a potty mouth clearly, but and I'm really passionate about this topic. Like, I just wish women had it in them to leave. I literally know like 3 or 4 people who were in situations that didn't end well, did not end well, or are not going well. You know, so I think that there's a level of nobody cares about me that goes with that. They know what type of person you are, or they know people like to stay to themselves, because I'm gonna tell you that I mind my business. I don't, if I see something going on, because another thing that I've noticed about women who are in abusive relationships, I almost believe that it's they haven't figured it out yet. They haven't figured out how to exit the situation, or maybe they don't want to. They want to feel like they can make people better. It doesn't work that way, okay? And if you think that you can try to get even with a person who does that, no, you can't. If they hit you once, trust me, they will continue to hit you. They will. Because it'll be something about you that triggers them, that makes them feel like it's okay to hit you. Especially if your response is, you go right back like no big deal happened. This is all my opinion. I am not like a professional or anything like that. I just feel like understanding how people tick and work mentally, how their mind works, is important. When you around people, you have to pay attention to how they react to certain things. Some people don't like it when people don't react when they do something to make them mad. Like, if I know somebody that's so cool, he cool as a cucumber, and if you make him mad, despite how angry he is, you would think he don't care at all, even if he's hurting inside. But he will just walk away. And I feel like I could be talking to him right now because he's dealt with women who are just as abusive as the people that I'm talking about. Like, crazy abusive. Wow, I know 2 men like that. They have to deal with the violence that, wow. Their stuff is what gets abused, though. They don't, not them, because they have sisters and stuff. Well, one of them doesn't, but the other one does. Anyway, it's crazy. It's just crazy. I gotta be smart, though. Don't think that you can tell a person like that you're about to walk away from them, because they're never gonna let it happen. They're never gonna let it happen, because now they're afraid of what might come their way or whatever. They want you afraid of what might happen to you if you walk away from them or something like that. And I feel like I'm speaking for a lot of people, because even though I can only go off of what happened for me or what I know happened from other people, but everything, the stories are always the same. They don't have, it's not much similar. I mean, it's not much that's not similar. You know, it's not much that's different in these situations. Because the bottom line is, if somebody is willing to put their hands on you, they don't care who's around watching. That's really what you don't want. Because those people are more than just threatening towards you. They're threatening towards the people that are around you. And really, that's probably most aggressive people. But a lot of people don't want the rest of the world to know either. If you know somebody like this, just know you can't talk them out of this. That's the sad part about it. They have to be willing to get out of it themselves. And a lot of them just hide it. They hide it anyway. They don't tell a soul that they're going through this. How could they? They're not willing to walk away. They're embarrassed. They know they should walk away, but they also know they won't walk away. They're not going to walk away. They have to be willing to walk away. If it's people out there that are willing to walk away, but they just don't know how, I'm talking to you. It's just like a person who's got a drug addiction or any kind of addiction. You know that it's bad for you, but walking away is never going to happen, because you're kind of addicted to it. That doesn't mean you don't know that it's not good for you. You may even be willing to go the whole way. You may be willing to go the whole way. But let me just say, like, that's not good for anybody, especially if you have kids. Your loved ones, I'm sure, are trying to save you from the troubles that come with that. People, you don't know how far they'll go. That's a scary fact. I mean, I stayed away from my relationships. As a matter of fact, I wasn't even in a relationship with the person that was like that. And that's probably one reason that they got triggered by me. Because I was nonchalant. I had just lost my brother, and being in a relationship was like far from what I cared about, especially when you're at my weakest point. This is when you decide to be an asshole. This is when you decide that you are just going to be mean to me. This is when you decide you put your hands on me, but that wasn't until later. That's just, it's crazy to me. It really is. I'm not judging anyone either. Let me just make that clear. I do not judge people, because being in that situation, like, it took me a whole month to even get out of there. It took me a whole month. And that was the most terrifying month ever, because I didn't know if it was going to happen again. I didn't know how much of my moving out was being noticed, even because he did mention that he had noticed that some of my stuff was coming up missing. And once I actually left, it was all bad, because that made him responsible for everything, which wasn't his thing. Like being responsible for anything, being committed to something. Oh God, no. Which is one reason why I ended up losing everything. One of the reasons, I should say. Red flags, lady. Red flags. Ladies. Not lady. Ladies. Red flag ladies. Let's stop ignoring them. Let's stop ignoring them, because who's it helping? Now we get pregnant with people, by people that are like this, and they feel even more entitled, and they make it about the kid. But if it was about the kid, they'd find a way to stop, They would find a way to not put their kids in a situation, which now this is your responsibility. Your responsibility is knowing that your kid is better than having to deal with the same stuff you do. Don't make your kid be a partner in the violent acts of others. I try to tell people all the time, they're like, I ain't worried about them. They're all talk. That's a dangerous way to feel. That is a dangerous thing, especially when you got people that may or may not be welcomed in and out of your vicinity. And you're saying, you don't care, rather or not. You don't care about putting these kids in a situation that they can't control if something was to happen. That's just crazy. That's just crazy to me. That's just crazy. I'm high strung, don't get me wrong. Very high strung. I'm very I worry a lot about everything. I don't know, I just pay attention to people's energy. And sometimes people's energy just doesn't match with what I'm willing to accept. I think that because I've kept men away from my home since this incident, and that was all of 13 years ago. So it's been 13 years since let me take that back. Not since I've had a man around, because I also am I'm a person that I'm more likely to have male friends than female friends, but my male friends are more like family until they step into a different territory, and it's like, okay, now you have to go because it was never meant to be like that. Ladies, pay attention. Pay attention, man. It's like if anybody ever watched that movie, 4 Color Girls, and what happened to that lady and her kid with her husband or her boyfriend or whatever he was to her. They was together. They were together or trying to be together or something like that. That's how people really are, okay? If y'all haven't seen 4 Color Girls, it's about four black chicks that was going through stuff in life. And I suppose these could possibly have been based on real true stories, because the way that they all played out, sure, somebody knows somebody that's been in each of those situations. However, the one that portrayed the lady with the kids, she's such a good actress too. But anyway, the one that portrayed her situation, that's how it is with people. I've listened to so many women tell me about their problems with, because, when people get abused for the first time, let me take that back. If people get abused and they don't really want to be abused, they need to find a way out, and they know that it's not that simple, they tell people, or they talk to at least one person, that as far as I know. And when they start hearing things and they're like, I'm leaving that person and blah, 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 they end up going back and having a conversation. They either end up with this sweet person that they feel that gives them life to give to their relationship with them. Let me say that different. They end up going back to this person who abused them and they manipulate them into believing that they won't do it again, or that they lost control because they felt scared that they were going to lose them, or something of that sort. Some kind of, I'm afraid, or you hurt my feelings, or some shit like that. And that rejuvenates them, the woman, into believing that they have another chance to have the better version of this person. And it's never true. What do they say about cheaters? Once a cheater, always a cheater. Do you know anything like this that's been true for anybody else? Because women tend to think that they will get a different result. That cracks me up. It doesn't crack me up at all. I'm sorry, I didn't even really mean to say that. I don't even know why I did. It's not funny at all, really. It kind of hurts my feelings so bad every time I come across somebody who I know, once they say that, and you could tell the ones that get abused and don't talk about it. They have a certain level of how they carry themselves, especially if somebody mentions, like, are you okay? You know, you can't ask a person, as a matter of fact, ask the person who you suspect is being abused by their partner, their husband, or whatever, and ask them, are you okay? It seems like something's wrong. Or just try to hint that you think they might be getting abused at home or whatever. They're going to defend them. They're such a sweet person, and they're this and they're that, and you know, they won't say, if anything, I'm the abuser, or you won't see a bit of confidence on their face. They'll just be like, either whether they are used to talking about it or not, because maybe somebody else said something to them, and if that's the case, then you'll get a more, if you ask somebody and they are used to having this conversation with people, you'll see a person that's used to having this kind of conversation with people. But they can never really hide or deny that they're getting hurt at home. They'll come up with a lot of things to make you feel like you can believe them. You might even know their kids, or your kids go to school with their kids, and their kids are like, their kids are closed off or something like that. I don't know about the kids part, but you know, you do. But sometimes people need help. They don't say anything because if you're married, you have this certain level of, the person has a certain level of access granted to them, and getting away from them is almost impossible. But if they're just like, I don't know, y'all. I don't know what to say, because like I said, I'm not a pro. It's not like I deal with people in these kind of situations all the time. I have talked to a lot of people going through this type of stuff, and let me just say, once we have a conversation about it, and that conversation, it's like I might ask them later on if everything is all right, and you could tell, or if they left that person, because that's the number one thing. You don't want to talk to somebody. You don't want to keep giving a person access to you if this is how they behave. But if they still deal with them, you're going to hear, oh yeah, we talked, everything went great, and you know, we promised we'll do this and do that, and so I'm pretty sure that's not going to happen again. It was a one-time thing. It's never a one-time thing. I don't care if you hear somebody say that they got abused by somebody. If they haven't left them, they're getting abused by them still. If I'm wrong, if I'm right, somebody out there, if y'all know what I'm talking about, say something in the chat. Just leave a comment. If you know somebody in a situation that they should walk away from, you don't have to leave any names. I'm not asking for personal information. But if there's something that I'm saying that you know is true, leave a message in the chat. You don't have to say anything. Just say true. Just say true in the chat. And I'm not trying to make a point. I'm really just trying to say, like, I'm not trying to make a point about people being in violence conversations and stuff like that. Honestly, I wish I knew. I feel like I want to come up with something that helps women like that. It's just hard because most women either can't get out because it's more complicated, like a marriage or something like that, or like they might have somebody that's, if just staying with them is almost safer than trying to leave them, because leaving them is like almost certain that something bad is going to happen. But there's people who just don't know how to exit these kind of situations. They don't have friends, they don't have family, because a manipulator like that, abuser, that's their first goal. Get rid of the family and friends, anybody that can protect this person. And they usually start off being the sweetest. We got to do something, y'all. We have to do something to change this. It should not be like, I shouldn't know so many people who have been in these kind of situations, and it's probably happened all around us. But one person should know several people who have been in these situations. I'm not even around that many people, and people have lost their lives due to man. Like, sometimes not directly because of a man, but it's because of a man. Like, stress levels high to the point where it's like, because 9 times out of 10, I don't know. We got to do something about this, y'all. This is one of the reasons why I say that we should learn how to stay single. Let's just learn how to stay single for long enough. Don't give, if a person gives you red flags, you make a list of red flags right now. Write down your red flags that you are unwilling to accept in a relationship, or even in a friendship. If you see these red flags, make a non-negotiable deal with yourself. Non-negotiable. No excuses, ladies. Despite. Okay? Non-negotiable deal that says, if I see any of these red flags, I'm exiting. I'm not taking nobody's excuses for why they said or did this. I'm not accepting any apologies for something that may have happened that was physical or even mental, verbal, emotional. Because I know people who are in relationships, well, they're not even in relationships with people. These people wanted to be in relationships with them. They left. And so this person says things to them that is very mean. Like, if you love somebody, you don't talk about their dead loved ones and expect them to understand that you did this because you wanted them to understand how they hurt your feelings. Non-negotiable. Non-negotiable. You have to understand what this means to a person. You know, what does that mean in their mind? They really want to hurt you, right? So if they want to hurt you in any kind of way, they probably will hurt you in every kind of way. And then they expect for these things to make a difference. Anyway, write yourself out some non-negotiables. If you're in between relationships, or even in a relationship, maybe you just started a relationship, write down your non-negotiable, ladies. Write them down and follow them like you follow in the Bible or some kind of rule set by whoever, wherever, right? You don't even have to tell the people what the non-negotiables are, because a person can avoid that shit with like a plague, and just not do the biggest things on that list. They can avoid them for a long enough for you to fall in love. Don't tell people your non-negotiables. Write them down. Check them every day. If you're in a new relationship, even if you just want to stay refreshed about the relationship, and don't let anybody fall. I know I keep repeating myself. I just feel like I'm missing saying something. Maybe I can say it in another video. Right now, I am at work, and I must go. I must go in. Enjoy y'all day, and I'll see you next time. Thank you for watching.